Nostalgia is the reason for the downfall of Call of Duty Zombies. I know that's a very bold accusation to make, so I want to make sure we are all well aware of what nostalgia really is. Now, as much as it is a feeling of happiness while reminiscing on the past, nostalgia is also a money-making tool used to scam customers for decades. Disney is the prime example of this, remaking classic animated stories in live action with none of the effort or charm that went into the originals. Now, you might be asking, what does this have to do with the upcoming Zombies title Call of Duty Black Ops 6? To understand that, you have to answer this question. What does Black Ops 4, Cold War, and Vanguard Zombies all have in common with each other? They all share an inherent flaw in their development I would call desperation nostalgia, which is why these titles went from games with massive potential to underwhelming or decent at best experiences. Except Vanguard, that game just sucks, honestly. Now, what is desperation nostalgia? I would classify it as using nostalgia out of sheer laziness and from inability to create interesting ideas. Now, keep this in mind because it is very important throughout the video. Black Ops 4 is the biggest example of this flaw. The developers prioritized having a large number of maps within the game, which isn't totally a bad call. However, when 50% of your maps are already conceived ideas with minimal changes at best, are you even trying? Let's take a closer look on how reliant Black Ops 4 was on satisfying the nostalgia of old fans.
This one is going to be called Classified, and as we all speculate, it's going to be a 5 remake or a remaster of some kind. So that as a standard is freaking awesome. 5 is probably in the top 2 of my favorite maps in Black Ops.
Have you ever watched Harry Potter?
Yes.
Have you seen it where they extract memories and then you physically go into their memories?
Yes, that's right? What it is.
And the intro to 9 reminded me of that, right? Imagine if you had to do that and you went into the memory of, let's say, Stuhlinger in transit, and you literally get teleported straight to round 9 transit. You've got to do a round while you're searching for something. Then
bro, it'd be so good.
Classified was basically the same as 5, minus the unique crew of JFK, Castro, Nixon, and McNamara. Blood of the Dead was just Mob of the Dead with a worse Easter egg, worse layout, and the removal of the original crew. However, I will give credit to the storyline. Alpha Omega was just Nuketown with an underground bunker and the laziest version of the elemental wonder weapons we have ever seen. And finally, Tog der Toten was just Call of the Dead, but a little bit bigger. That sunset was really pretty though, I can't lie. While this half of Black Ops 4 was nostalgia rotted, the other half was disliked for subpar maps and a forgettable story. But I will say, the Chaos maps were at least unique, and you could say Treyarch was actually trying something new here. Instead of fully diving into the unknown of the Chaos storyline or putting their all into the final days of the Ether plot, Treyarch decided to split their efforts in the middle, allowing desperation nostalgia to take control, which led to 2 separate half-baked storylines and several forgettable or downright bad maps. At this point, you might be asking yourself, is nostalgia really that bad of a feeling? And I'll be honest, it's really not. We will get there when we talk about another Zombies game in a few minutes, but we still have a couple more examples of how this emotion has been killing zombies for years. Moving on to Black Ops Cold War. The whole marketing of this Zombies experience was centered around nostalgia. Let's take a moment to look at this trailer.
What have you done?
Did you get the package? Watch it. Watch the tape.
It literally opens with an older version of the Samantha character seen all throughout the Ether storyline, despite the fact that it's supposed to be the new Dark Ether storyline. But we aren't done there. The map showcased in this trailer is a Die Maschine, which contains Noctur and Toten, the original Zombies map. And going even further, the actual climax of the video is the player getting the perk Juggernog, signifying the original perk system was back after Black Ops 4's change of pace. So it's safe to say that Cold War's marketing was entirely built upon fulfilling the nostalgia of fans, which, as we saw with Black Ops 4, completely dismantled that game. Thankfully, Cold War's relationship with desperation nostalgia wasn't as hardwired into the game as it was with Black Ops 4. Instead, Cold War used it creatively in their marketing and managed to make something relatively unique along the way. However, these business practices left a lot of original Zombies fans disappointed after promotions promised a more traditional Zombies approach, when in reality, Cold War felt vastly different from predecessors like Black Ops 1 and 2. Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies. What a game. Vanguard abused desperation nostalgia as sort of a last-ditch effort to bring in Zombies fans. This is showcased through the release of Shinonuma Reborn. After Vanguard Zombies had been struggling for a while, their last attempt to pull anyone into buying the game was, let's release a classic map. Which is funny to me because it's already on Black Ops 3's Zombie Chronicles, which interestingly enough leads us right into how Call of Duty Zombies nostalgia should be done. Now that you are all well aware of desperation nostalgia, let's now understand its antagonist, additional nostalgia. As you can see, I'm very creative with these names. Now, Black Ops 3 is the perfect example of a positive nostalgia and its benefits to everyone involved. In case you forgot, BO3 released with two maps, Shadows of Evil and The Giant. The latter is essentially a remaster of a World at War map, Der Riese. Now, I mentioned these maps for a moment of comparison with Black Ops 4. The Giant was a season pass bonus map. Yes, it had story implications, but it was more of an extra addition encouraging people to buy the season pass. Now compare this with Black Ops 4. Two Ether storyline maps were released on launch, Classified and Blood of the Dead. Classified served a similar role to the Giant, a bonus map for the biggest fans with a smaller impact on the story. However, the true difference lies between Blood of the Dead and Shadows of Evil. Black Ops 3's launch map is arguably one of the best zombies maps ever produced, and you can tell the developers were really passionate while making it. Whereas if you look at Blood of the Dead, it was a map comprised of rehashed ideas and subpar gameplay. I'll put it this way. Black Ops 3 did not need the Giant, but Black Ops 4 had to have Classified. The only way BO4 fans wouldn't be outraged with getting a single remastered map on launch was to receive two. Now that you have an understanding of Black Ops 3's usage of additional nostalgia, we are going to review the ultimate example of nostalgia being used for good, along with how Black Ops 6 can learn a thing or two from BO3, and that is simply Zombie Chronicles. Shadows of Evil, The Giant, Dreisendracht, Zetsubo no Shima, Gorod Krovi, and Revelations. These fantastic maps alone made up arguably the best zombies game ever, and with the introduction of Zombie Chronicles, this debate was now over. It goes without saying that 8 fan favorite maps faithfully remastered created such happiness in the community. Black Ops 3 did not need to make Zombie Chronicles, it was simply a fair priced, well-made product with a lot of interest. And that's why it was the most successful DLC of all time until Elden Ring beat it out this year. I am not saying Black Ops 6 needs a Zombie Chronicles to be successful or even to save the franchise, but Black Ops 6 does need to be very careful about their relationship with one emotion, nostalgia. If they choose to go down a path of trying to appease old fans instead of actually caring about creativity and pushing the envelope forward, Call of Duty Zombies as we know it will only slowly fizzle out into a rabbit hole of mediocrity.